Yes, we have all been there when our client requests to get our negative files, whether raw or edited. And yes, there is a way to keep them happy while you can still educate them as to why you don't release your raw negatives or all your edited images. Just stick around and I'll let you know how. Yes, now I know it's a very sensitive area when a client requests to get their raw digital negatives. It can be very difficult to refuse this request when in the end you just want your client to be happy. This can be preempted simply by managing your client's expectations from the very beginning. And if you also want to learn how to manage your client's expectations, I have a video for that as well. I'll include a card up here and a link in the description below to watch that when you're done with this. In the meantime, here are some guidelines on how to respond to your client's request to receive their digital raw negatives. Basically, when a client requests to receive their raw digital negatives, I give them one of two responses as to why I don't release my raw negatives. Now, my usual first response, I let them know the images that come out of my camera are raw and unedited. I usually ask them to liken the raw images that come out of my camera as ingredients to a recipe that are unassembled, raw, and uncooked. Because they are unedited, they are not a proper representation of my brand, the main reason why they hired me in the first place. I then try to remind them that they hired me based on my portfolio, and the images in my portfolio are edited images, or if you will, my final dish. And if I need to further elaborate on this analogy, I'd let them know that I would invite them to my home for dinner and then present them with a plate of ingredients, uncooked and raw, and expect them to enjoy it. And in the same way, I wouldn't give them images that are raw and unedited and expect them to be proud to hang it on their walls. And in the second response that I give to my clients when they request the raw digital negatives, that as a professional business owner and artist, that I have set certain standards for myself and for my work. If I release any raw digital negatives, it removes the discretion that I may have in how my work is represented. It is both my responsibility and my prerogative to release my work and present my work at a certain level. That's why I take time to call through and select images and enhance them to meet that level of excellence that I strive to achieve. Instead of giving your clients the generic response of, I don't release my digital negatives, it sometimes helps understand why your clients are making this request in the first place. Sometimes it may be because they want to edit the images themselves, or in some cases they may feel like they're missing out on something more. Either way, to avoid leaving your client feeling unsatisfied and unhappy with your services, it's important to respond to their needs specifically. Now, when my client wants to edit the images themselves, my response to them is simply that I was hired based on a certain standard and a certain look of my work. That when providing my digital raw negatives to have them edited by someone else, that integrity of my work, my style, my vision is compromised, and what they're getting is their vision and not mine. Now, as the copyrighted owner of these images, I reserve the right and the prerogative to represent this work in the way that I find meets my vision. And also, just to further educate my clients about raw digital negatives, I let them know that there is a certain software that is required even to open and edit these images. Now, the other reasoning the client may have to requesting their digital raw negatives is they may feel like they're missing out on something. Now, when this is the reasoning, I try to assure my clients that they're not missing out on anything. I only edit out and cull images that are technically imperfect, whether that be focus, exposure, composition, or those images that do not capture their most flattering moments. So for this reasoning of wanting their digital negatives, I try to assure them they're not missing out on one image, one moment that may mean something to them. These two simple responses tends to educate, reassure, and satisfy the client. It also tends to remind the client why they hired you in the first place. And above all, it helps to stress the importance of protecting your brand and the customer service that you provide to ensure that they're excited about the final images. Now, all final images that I provide in the gallery do go through a preliminary edit, which includes any enhancements of saturation, contrast, white balances, highlights, and shadows. and anything that may need to be corrected in order to make the images presentable from their raw state. Now, there are times when a client will request all their edited images from their gallery. In my business model, I am not what's considered to be a shoot and burn photographer. In my business model, I'm what's considered to be a boutique studio. I offer packages to my clients that provide final images in the form of prints or canvases, and also a set limit of enhanced images from those products. Now, clients who just want to have images to print themselves may be frustrated by this. I try to educate them that the images that are provided in their gallery are just a preliminary edit. They at this stage still do not represent my final product. I further educate them that there are still additional required time enhancements to get those images to the final product that they hired me for. When all is said and done, it is your prerogative as a business owner to decide whether or not if you want to offer digital negatives. If you do choose not to provide your digital negatives, you must be prepared to respond clearly, concisely, and confidently with your client as to why those images are not provided to them. I do hope that you found this video helpful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click that bell to be notified when I do post new videos weekly. And also, if you know someone who may find this information beneficial, please feel free to share with them as well. And as always, if you have any questions or any topic ideas that you may want to see in the near future, just post those in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to oblige. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.